Hello friends, what's up? It's Jaime here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a queer nerd that likes cartoons. Of course I loved The Owl House. It was honestly a no-brainer that I was going to love this show. I mean, like, sometimes when I start a new show or book or game or whatever, I don't know what to expect. But I mean, generally, I do try to pick media that I think I'm going to like because I don't want to waste my time. But sometimes it's still hard to know what you're gonna get. I knew exactly what I was getting with the Owl House, and I couldn't have been more excited. If there was a blueprint for how to be a show that I'll love, it's be an animated fantasy show with incredibly written characters, incredibly queer characters, and bonus points for neurodivergent characters, or be 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But in the event that you cannot be 2012 TMNT, the former is a pretty guaranteed formula to being a show that I'll adore. And so, because it is Pride Month and I already made a video about Steven Universe, which is my other favorite very queer cartoon, I of course had to talk about the Owl House. Now, originally, I had planned to do a more in-depth video talking about all of my favorite characters from the Owl House, but unfortunately, due to some unforeseen factors, I had to condense this video to just talking about Luz and Amity. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously I love Luz and Amity, that's why we're talking about them, but I love so many of the characters from this show, and I really wanted to talk about them in today's video, but unfortunately, I've just been working so much recently that I just was having so much trouble finding time to really work on this script. The script also wasn't flowing the way I needed it to flow. Like, I know that I have so many thoughts and feelings and things that I want to say about Willow and Hunter and Gus and King and Lilith and again all my favorite characters, but I was having a really hard time finding the words to express all my thoughts and feelings. Like, there was just a really big disconnect between like the thoughts in my brain and then actually writing them out, if that makes sense. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the stress from work that was getting to me. I have no clue. I just knew that I didn't want to half-ass talking about the other characters, and so in today's video, the focus will be on Luz and Amity, but just know that I will be making another Owl House video at some point within the next year. Might be another Pride Month video, not sure yet, to talk about all the other characters that I adore. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Also, spoilers for the Owl House, just in case that wasn't clear. Luz and Amity, otherwise known as Lumity, are arguably the most iconic pairing slash couple from the Owl House. Also, as the resident Ninja Turtles fangirl that I am, I'm obligated to inform you that Amity is voiced by the Mae Whitman, who also voiced April in 2012 TMNT. She also voiced Katara in Avatar The Last Airbender, so all around, she is incredibly iconic. I must admit that I'm not really familiar with Sarah Nicole Robles' work outside of the Owl House, but her portrayal of Luz is also incredible. Truly, the casting for this show was off the charts. Like, I could not imagine anyone else playing these characters except for the people who were cast. I love Luz so much because she really reminds me of my younger self. We're not like exactly the same, but the way that Luz was established as a fangirl in the show just really felt like I was watching a younger version of me, and it really warmed my heart. It also helps that we're both Hispanic, neurodivergent, queer girls. Something I've really loved about recent media that censors teenagers, particularly younger teens like 13, 14 years old, like Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, The Owl House, Amphibia, Turning Red, is that they've really allowed these teens to be authentically awkward and weird and cringe. Essentially, let them be teenagers. Because again, I saw so much of my preteen self in Luz because I too was awkward and weird and cringe. I still am as an adult, but that's besides the point. So I always find it really disheartening when I see that these characters are being called cringe and weird, like it's a bad thing, when it's like, I hate to break it to you, but teenagers are weird and cringe. Again, I would know. I was a teenager once, and I know that I would have loved to have had this show as a teenager, but I am so glad that I at least have it as an adult, because Luz being awkward is not the only thing that I love about her. My favorite thing about Luz's character, and one of my favorite things about the show in general, is how determined and committed Luz is to forging her own path and staying true to being her most unapologetic self. to study every kind of magic, to be as nerdy and geeky as possible, express her fondness for the creepy and grotesque things in life. Luz is far from perfect when we first meet her in the Owl House. She's stubborn and reckless, still very obviously grieving and processing the death of her father, but her strong conviction in staying true to herself, which thus gives the people around her the courage to be their authentic selves, is what I found the most admirable about her. It's easy to see why people love Luz, like a certain purple-haired, formerly green-haired gal. I absolutely adore Amity. I already had an affinity towards her because she's voiced by Mae Whitman, and I love Mae Whitman, as we've already established. But more than that, I love Amity's character development throughout the show. I am so proud of how she evolves. Early Amity reminds me a lot of Vale Castillo Green from You Don't Have a Shot by Raquel Marie, which is an incredible sapphic book, by the way, but significantly less insufferable. That's not to say that Amity doesn't have her moments. She's callous. She's a bully in the beginning. She almost gets Luz killed, and it hurt my heart to see the way that she treated Willow. But there is nothing that I love more than seeing a character break toxic cycles that have been instilled in them by their families. And I want to make this clear. Amity is responsible for her own growth. I don't want to take that away from her. At the end of the day, she chose to learn from her mistakes and better herself. But I must say that I love how Luz helped nudge her in the right direction, because sometimes all it takes is a little kindness and a new perspective for you to be able to reevaluate the way that you've been viewing the world and yourself. Obviously, changing a mindset that has been ingrained in you since birth doesn't happen overnight. And we saw that with Amity. It was a slow progression. But Luz's consistent kindness and the grace that she gave Amity gave her a safe space to reflect on her actions and grow from them. That was everything to me. Watching Amity go from someone who is so clearly being crushed by the weight of the expectations that her shitty, abusive mother was putting on her, to being happy with real friends and a girlfriend who absolutely adores her, just, oh, it brought tears to my eyes. Also, while we're at it, fuck Odalia. I hope she fucking rots, and I hope that Luz and Amity dance on her grave. Obviously, I'm very happy that Luz and Amity are together because I just love them together, but it's just like the cherry on top knowing that Odalia is fuming over it. It's just, warms my heart. Sometimes with rivals to lovers storylines, it's fun for the couple to still be rivals after they get together. A good example of this for me is Outdrawn by Deanna Gray, but with Luz and Amity, I am perfectly content that they completely dropped their rivalry and are nothing but loving and supportive with each other, because they have both been through enough before the show and during the events of the story. Already so much trauma. I just want them both to be happy forever. No angst, no doomed sapphics shit, no bullshit relationship drama. It's why, honestly, I love the episode where Luz tells Amity about her dad so much. Oh my god, it's such a good episode, because they really could have played up like the melodrama and the miscommunication, but instead they gave us this beautiful moment where Luz really allows herself to be vulnerable and not trying to just be putting on a happy face and like making others smile, and like truly open up to Amity. And Amity helps Luz pick flowers for her dad even though she can't go visit his grave back home. I love that scene. Oh my god. Oh, that shit made me cry so much. Holy shit. I cried so much. Luz expressing like the guilt that she felt for not being with her mom on that day. Oh, it gutted me. It absolutely gutted me. It hurt my feelings. The Noceda family has been through so much, and I just want all of the best things for them. Also, shout out to Mama Noceda. We love a parent who owns up to their mistakes and actually strives to do better and does better. Odalia? Odalia could fucking never, bro. Some of my favorite moments in the show of Luz and Amity having each other's backs is when they're standing up to Odalia. Ugh, those scenes are so wonderful because they have two of my favorite things. One, Luz and Amity supporting each other, and two, telling Odalia to shut the fuck up. It's just like, it's so wonderful. What more could you want? One last thing about Luz and Amity before we move on. As the musical theater lover that I am, I love how the Owl House fandom essentially claimed Little Miss Perfect by Jiraiya Kwame as like the official Lumity song. I've loved that song for years. I first listened to it because of Taylor Louderman, the iconic Broadway actress who originated the role of Regina George in Mean Girls on Broadway. She was also in Bring It On the musical. I'm sorry, I'm a theater nerd. I can't. I had to give you my little fun facts. I can't help it. It's like it's just it's just who I am. I think that Taylor Louderman's rendition of the song is absolutely gorgeous. Like I love it. And I love that that song got so much love from the Owl House fandom that Jiraiya Kwame then wrote Ordinary with Luz and Amity in mind. I just love how that worked out because if you don't know, Little Miss Perfect was actually originally like written like as a song based on Courtney from 13 Reasons Why, the book. But then I think that somebody said it I think on Reddit that someone made a Lumity animatic with the song and it just from there it became like the Lumity song. Ordinary is also a fantastic song. Both songs are so incredible. I especially love Anna Pantsu's covers of both of them. If you've been following me for long enough, then you would know that I love Anna Pantsu. She is my favorite cover artist. If you haven't listened to her covers of Little Miss Perfect and Ordinary, I highly recommend that you do so. So incredible. She does a great job. I just think that it is so iconic that Little Miss Perfect became the Lumity song when it was originally written and intended for a completely different story and character. Like, imagine being such an iconic ship that you are the first thing that comes to mind when a certain song is mentioned, and then the creator of that song writes another song specifically for those characters. Not every ship can say that, and I love that for Lumity. Obviously, this video is about Luz and Amity, but I felt like I couldn't do an Owl House video without talking about the ending. More specifically, how we were robbed of having a full final season. Now, I knew going into watching the Owl House that it was going to be cut short. I watched it for the first time ever last year, and I already knew that season 3 was only going to be 3-hour long episodes, but it actually makes me so obscenely angry that Disney was so giddy about pulling the plug on this show. Disney really said, here, damn, with those final 3 episodes, as if we were just supposed to be like, oh, thank you so much for giving us 3 whole episodes for the final season, as if you didn't kill the show in the first place. That being said, I am very grateful for the episodes that we got, but no thanks to Disney. My gratitude is solely reserved for Dana and the team. Dana Terrace is a fucking rock star, man. I will forever find it so iconic that she made sure to up the gayness of those final 3 episodes because it literally was like, what are you gonna do, Disney? Cancel the show again? Like, Dana was so iconic for that. And in terms of the actual storytelling that we get in those final 3 episodes, I genuinely love them. Obviously, it's so clear that we were basically speed running to the finish line, but for what those episodes were, I love them. I give Dana and the team massive fucking props because they really did the best with what they were given. And I truly feel like those final episodes were the best that they could have done under those circumstances. Again, it is so apparent that there was so much more that could have been explored with the lore of the Boiling Isles and Bellows and literally everyone and everything in the show. But I think that Dana and the team did a hell of a job with wrapping up the story as best as they could. All of my favorite characters got their happy ending, so that's really all I wanted. But still, fuck Disney. Fuck Disney for what you took from us! Alright, that's all I have for today's Fangirl Fridays video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I fully plan on doing another Owl House video so that I can give my other favorite characters the spotlight that they deserve. I don't know for certain if it'll be one of next year's Pride Month videos or if it'll come out sooner. Only time will tell in terms of like my scheduling of that, but I fully plan on putting it out sometime next year, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let me know who your favorite characters from the Owl House are, your favorite moments from the show, your favorite season, episode, whatever. Also, let me know what your favorite queer shows are in the comments besides the Owl House. I'm fully aware that there's a pretty big, like, pretty well-known queer cartoon that I have yet to watch, and that's She-Ra. I'm very aware of its existence, and it has all the things that I've previously listed are things that I look for in a show. It's an animated fantasy show with incredibly queer characters, and I really do want to watch it. I think the only reason why I've been holding off on watching it is because I know that She-Ra was also canceled before it got like the proper ending, and I'm just not ready to have my heart broken again yet. But I will absolutely be watching She-Ra at some point, so I would love it if you guys shared any other queer show recs that you might have. I'd love to check them out. Even if they're not animated or fantasy, I'd love to know what shows you guys are loving. One more thing, on a more serious note, as Pride Month comes to a close, I just wanted to say, especially to my fellow American queers, is that you do not need anyone's permission to exist. Queer and trans people have always existed, and we will continue to exist. You do not need anyone else's validation or recognition to be queer or trans, especially not from this fuck-ass administration. There is nothing that this administration or any court ruling can do to make you any less queer, any less trans, any less deserving of love, support, and protection. I know that in the grand scheme of things that my words are a very small thing and might not provide really any comfort. So I will also leave some action items and resources down below in the description. Take care of yourselves, guys. Once again, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I upload Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, except when I don't, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.